What's going on, guys? This is Will from Market Risk Trading, and today I'm here to go over the SPY or the SPX index to kind of see where we're probably going to head into this week, into next week, and we do have tips coming up, so always keep that in mind. So we're going to go over a few charts. We're going to go over the economic data coming out this week and basically how the market's going to run based on stimulus hopes. So number one that we're going to look at is the US dollar, right? The reason why I want to look at the US dollar right now is because it's pretty weak. Let me show you guys. Investing.com. And right now, as you can see, the dollar is weak. So what does that mean? So before we even get to the dollar, let's kind of talk about, Bitcoin. Ever since the pandemic, since January, the beginning of 2020, people has been using Bitcoin as an indicator for stock prices. Now, it's still a very controversial topic, but we still got to think in mind that ultimately that stock goes back to stock returns, which are grounded in the economy itself, corporate earnings, interest rate, and inflation. Now, again, you guys could look into it yourself, but now let's move to the dollar as to why it's playing a pretty important role in the market right now. So what happened is when the dollar drops in value, the price of the denominated dollars increases, right? Like that's when stocks start to pick up necessarily from the energy sector itself, right? As the dollar weakens. So now what happened is imports become more expensive after a dollar gets devalued, which makes stocks over here much more at a discount for investors overseas, right? Which also, if you think about it, this may actually helps to drive up exports. So as exports increase and profits rise, and many companies in the US right now are rising, sort of like the story from March 23rd all the way to up now. That's what we're seeing. I'm just going into this just to kind of tell you guys is no matter how worse it gets right now, let's kind of pay attention to imports and exports and see how they doing. That way we could know exactly how the economy is doing itself. And of course, a competition for stock drives price up even further. And that's what we've been seeing in tech's earnings. That's the reason they say tech stocks are probably going to they're in a bubble right now. But we have earnings coming up. They benefit the current situation that we're in right now in terms of cloud computing stocks, e-commerce and stuff like that. We're seeing these things booming out of control. So first and foremost, we just went over that. You guys could double check that as well in terms of supply and demand for the dollar. When it's getting weak and when it's getting pretty strong, and the correlation to that to the equity market. So now we're gonna go into a couple bit of charting, what I think is gonna happen in the week coming ahead. So now if we look at a weekly chart, there's like pretty much two things that can happen, right? And that's based on economic data that comes out. And literally that's just based on stimulus hope. Just doing simple researches. So this is what happens. It took us about 1 month, 4 months to get from 300 and something and all the way to 358.75. And literally it takes about 4 weeks to drop from 358.75 all the way back to 316.17 area. 319 area, my bad, 320, 319 area. So it took us 4 months to build and 1 month to erase at least 10% of that 15% run to the upside that we had. So now this is where we at right now. Worst case scenario that we come back to the 340 levels. This is right around this corner here, where this blue line is at, guys. This is where my support is at because it's a pretty good level for us to continue to the upside. Mainly because this candle here for the week is literally based on stimulus hope that something was going to get done. Pelosi and the Democrats has presented that 2.4 trillion, and of course the White House and the Republican never pretty much agreed with it. So like you guys seen last Friday, Trump and his administration, they did offer about the 1.8 trillion, and in fact he had an interview saying that in fact if we need more money, they will put more money on the table. So it's just like people just pretty much moving based on that and making the decision. And that alone drive price of stocks up to the upside. So it's either one scenario, which I do not know where we're gonna go right now, but those keep those in mind. Let's actually look in the 4-hour chart so we can have a better view of what we're looking at. But to get clear confirmations of the actual trends you want to look at the weekly and the daily chart, just kind of like make your decisions. So now what we're seeing here, we have the perfect inverted head and shoulder in terms of formation of the candlesticks and the patterns that we're seeing right now. We have the perfect inverted head and shoulder, and we would like for it to continue up. Now, another thing that we're actually seeing right now is that we're actually seeing an ascending triangle. And this is how you guys could draw it out. We're pretty bullish, we're moving to the upside. And this is a pretty ascending triangle here. So let's see if that gets played out this week. So it's the two strike prices that I'm looking at. Either we go all the way back to 350 flat, then we get rejected, then have a minor pullback, or we retest the 340s, which is literally around those levels here, the neckline of that inverted head and shoulder on the full hour. And if you look at the daily charts, that would be the neckline of that breakout level. And this is where this blue line takes place right now, guys. Bear with me. Yeah, this is where that blue line takes place right now, where we broke out. So 340, this is where I think it might come back down to, and then we get a move to the upside from here, back to, 350. Right, this is what I'm thinking right now. And again, like I said before, this is just mainly because of stimulus hopes that it gets done. More than likely, it's not probably going to get done because they're probably going to wait after the election. Trump's going to try anything in his favor to actually get that done. That's probably going to favor him to win. But then again, who knows, right? You can't go out in the news. If you're trading in the market, like I said before, take profits as you see it come. And yeah, take profit as you see it come, and don't be greedy, and live to see another day, right? So that's what we're looking at. So let's kind of go over the economic calendar just to see where we're heading for the week. And again, this is a site that you guys could use. You should kind of see what's going on in the week coming ahead, right? You go to economic calendar, and let's see what we got coming tomorrow. Let's see what we got coming tomorrow. So this is tomorrow. The Canadian market is closed tomorrow, of course. We're still open. And let's actually see. We don't have anything happening tomorrow. It's just basically gonna move based on technicals, of course, and you gotta pay attention to Trump's tweets, Pelosi's, and the other guy, Mnuchin, whatever his name is. Kind of pay attention to it. Right now, we're currently seeing the Dow 30. It's in the negative, so is the S&P. So we really got to pay attention to. I would really love for it to come back to. I would really love for it to go back to 340 levels, so that we can continue to the upside. We want those healthy pullback, especially with tech's earning coming up. So we don't have nothing happening here this week. Hold on, tomorrow. Let's go click on this week. And guys, and another thing too, if you scroll under here, you get to see what these means, right? 3 stores, high volatility expected. 2 stores, moderate. 1 store, low volatility expected. So if you see something on the chart in terms of economic data, it's going to be pretty volatile. Normally 15 minutes prior and after. During those times, you don't trade. It's either you're going to trade 15 to 20 minutes prior or 20 minutes post economic data comes out. So another thing we're going to watch this week, of course, Monday, pretty much nothing. Tuesday, let's see what's happening Tuesday. What did I click on? Lord Jesus Christ. All right, okay, here we go. This is on Monday. We pretty much have nothing. I think it's just basically on technical analysis and mostly stimulus hope. So please watch Trump's Twitter, watch Pelosi's and Mnuchin. Next on Tuesday, we have, let's see, we have core PPI, CPI coming out. Again, if you don't know what that is, you click on it and see what it measures. This is all that does is it measures the change in the price of goods and services, excluding food and energy. A higher than expected number should actually be a positive thing for us, vice versa, the rest. We should know what that is. What else? I don't think none of these economic data are going to move the market as much as the stimulus package deal, simply because I don't think investors are looking for that in the market right now. On Wednesday, what we got going on for us, pretty much nothing. We got NBA mortgage applications. Uh, Pretty much nothing. We got the core PPI and PPI for mom for September. Again, if you don't know what that is, click on it. This is the changing the price of goods sold by manufacturer. This is a pretty good thing, but I still doesn't think that will move the market as such. But always be on the lookout for things and be safe out there. Um, that's what you're gonna have to do. But I just think that what matters the most, I think, is about Thursday or Friday. We got retail sales numbers comes out. And I think this is when, it becomes pretty good. And then we do have the continuing jobless claim. Of course, we always want to know what that is and how we're progressing to the upside, right? This basically measures the number of unemployed individuals who qualify for benefits under the unemployment insurance. And we want to focus on that. If it keeps going higher, that should be negative. A lower than expected reading should be positive. So that's about it over here. Ain't nothing more. Let's see, Friday, what we got coming out. Yep, the core retail sales numbers. And that, we're going to have to pay attention to that as well, guys. We're really going to have to pay attention to that as well, because that measures the change in the total value of sales at the retail level in the US. Then that's excluding the automobiles and stuff like that. So a higher than expected reading should be taken as positive. And of course, if it's lower than expected, it should be taken as a negative read for the US dollar. So again, it goes back into what Jerome Powell said, and you guys can look at the news. And he said we need the stimulus bill done. And again, he said something really strong. Let me actually see if I could get it for you guys. He said something pretty strong that I thought was really important, was that we actually need the federal government's help to get this economy back on track. Like he said here, the U.S. economic recovery can be strong, but it's incomplete. And he's calling for more fiscal support from the government. So all of those things, you could go read it. There was a specific, basically saying that, the feds needs to step up, give us that money. Because you guys have to think about all the people that are going to be unemployed, right? That are going to be furloughed, all the small businesses. Small businesses is the core back of this country and its economy, right? So we need these to save these small businesses, and have them go and get this help from the feds. And another thing to airline stocks too. But Pelosi, with her idiot self, don't mean to curse her, but she's making it a lot harder. And it's like it's two kids playing in the playground, and just, if you don't do this, I don't do that, when there are real people that are getting hurt. That's why he's calling for more help from Congress. He think that we need to continue with the aggressive fiscal and monetary stimulus for the economy to recover as strong as it is and to keep it on the same rate. So let's see what we get here. And of course, guys, you guys could utilize these sides just to kind of see and look what's going on here. Pelosi state stimulus talks remain at an impasse. At White House calls for separate vote on PPP funds. The White House on Friday increased its offer to $1.8 trillion, nearly double the original offer from the administration's when talks began in late summer. This proposal amounted to one step forward, two step backs. Senate Republicans expressed opposition in Saturday morning call with Treasury Secretary, of course, this guy, and White House Chief Mark Meadows. They're now calling for a separate vote on PPP funding. So, this is the thing again. It's like you get into a relationship and you get happy one day and the next day they just come and break your heart. So always be safe. And this is what they're offering, right? State and local government, $300 billion, unemployment and insurance, $400 per week. They cut that from the $600. Of course, the stimulus check still stays at $1,200 for adults, $1,000 per child. Airlines, $20 billion. PPP loans, $330 billion. Minority lending. So this is the whole thing, guys. They're actually providing everything that you guys need. And pay attention to these important information, because this is how you're probably going to make some money in the market. So just kind of imagine, because right now I'm playing airlines because I do think we get bailed out one way or the other. Like I told you guys, I've been picking up stocks in the airlines, and you don't got to play the option. And of course, if you do trying to play the option to the upside, protect yourself, right? play further dated contracts into January or into 2022. Some of these contracts for airline from their highs are really low. And if we do get that stimulus bill to help them save them from this atrocious thing that they're going through right now, I think airlines should be back up. And of course, we're gonna get through this. Travel's gonna be back up. People are gonna travel more than ever, and they already are. And one of the things that we are seeing a resurgence in COVID-19 cases, but the mortality rate is still down. There are less people dying from it. It's just that people are getting affected. Now, an issue would be the moment we start seeing hospitalization goes up and more people are dying, that's when it becomes worrisome. So those are things that we got to pay attention to moving forward. This is basically it. Before we go, we could actually do a little bit more charting. Um, of course, right now on the 4 hour, we're looking at the SPY ETF, and we're completely at oversold levels, overbought levels, I mean, in the 4 hour chart, even on the daily charts too. We're going into that area where we're going to be overbought. But right now, you know, because of tech's earning, this is why I'm still bullish. As you guys know, the 400 calls for December and also the 360s for 1030, because that's when I think the last tech, one of the big five, the fangs, which is Amazon 1030, that's when they reported earnings. But right now we just had this bullish crossover here. We would like to retain status above the median line or the center line, so we could be in the positive area, so we can have some momentum up to the upside. But of course, like I said, I would want to come back to the 340 so we could continue to go to the upside. So like I said, there's two things happening this week and the week after. It's either we go test that 350, right, literally, and get rejected from there, or we go test that 340, have a nice bounce to the upside, because at that point it comes to land right that in the shoulder, the right shoulder of that inverted head and shoulder. And again, we have momentum on our side, so let's see if we get that. Let's actually look at Amazon first. Those are my picks. I love to trade tech's earnings because they're gonna move at any weakness. I would say to buy techs because they're the new thing. You know, they have a lot of power, they have a lot of money, and they're actually doing a lot of good things. So as much as people say they're in a bubble, it's too overvalued, but look at the core business that they're doing. Look at the things that they're able to do during the close down of the economy since March. So especially Amazon, you know, their warehouses, their online businesses, e-commerce. Think about, you know, Google. Think about Apple. Apple has an event this week. It's their biggest event yet for an iPhone. So they could possibly disappoint. Just be careful on that. But if they do actually say some good stuff, Apple might actually carry the market to the upside. But of course, this is actually Amazon, and right now, this is what we're facing right now, which is the 33.54 levels. And we're just basically gonna see if it could break to the upside. Of course, this is an ascending triangle. We did have it breaking the falling wedge down to the downside. So we're going to move to test the 33.50s levels, possibly prior to earnings. And that's pretty much it, right? Simple, just look at the MACD. MACD is moving some nice to the upside, so we're catching some momentum. We actually had that bullish crossover here on that consolidation period. And if you guys look, my 50-day moving average, right, is bouncing right off that. So made some nice money in Amazon, trading in the money contract last week. And we're still in the 4,000s. I think that I'm going to leave that there until earnings. I still don't want to average down yet because, of course, we don't have any activity in those contracts now. So that's why we picked up only one, just to kind of monitor. And if we do want to average down, we're going to do that. But I do expect Amazon to have a pretty big news and move to the upside. Another one is we're going to look at Apple. And again, the 13th, they have their event. Pretty nice move we had to regain above the 117 area, where right now we're trading at 118. Again, this is the neckline of this double bottom here. So I think once we break that 118, this is the level that I really wanted to kind of stay above. I might actually run this to the upside. So let's really pay attention. We got a bullish crossover happening here. RSI slightly at overbought levels, but with I think with this catalyst news they have coming out with the iPhone 12, let's see what they say. It could also mean a bad thing too. That's the reason why they're changing into their watches now. iPhone's probably not going to be the biggest um, the generator for those revenues. So let's actually see. Another key we got to watch for is Microsoft. And as you know, they partner with GameStop. That's one of the reasons GameStop kept running up. I got shares in Microsoft. I picked it up at, 203, and right now it's at a pretty good level. So let's actually see if we break that rising wedge to the upsides. Until then, I'm going to remain pretty safe on it. I'm always going to protect myself with my shares, so I'll be playing the Mary put. But those are the levels that we got to watch. So we got to see if we get a rejection at the 219, 220 levels. And of course, with the PS5 and stuff like that, you guys can look into those things. But yeah, technical wise, 4 hour, we're looking pretty good. We have a very nice inverted head and shoulder. 205, 206 should be where great support is at. We'll see many times it comes back there and we go right above that 205, 206 levels and we're holding it. And I think once we kind of could get over the 218, 220 levels, this will be the only hard thing here. This bar from 229 all the way to 218. So that's going to be a really good test for us this week or the week coming before earnings for us to surpass that. And of course, if markets are green, we get the stimulus deal happen, these things are going to go crazy, 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 crazy. Another thing that we're going to look at real quick, we're not going to spend too much time on, it's Weight Watchers. We picked up Weight Watchers ever since 221, 218. We have substantially about 2,000 to 3,000 on those shares. I got 1,000 shares. This is my price target for it. I said this many times. We have the bullish crossover. And as of recent, Ciara the singer is actually an advocate for Weight Watchers after her pregnancy. So I think that because of that news, they will be moving up. They got a new face to advertise some more women staying at home or women who just had birth and trying to lose the weight. So look deeper into it, see what they're into. We caught it at 21, 18. Actually, me, Diane, we actually saw it at $18 and took it from there, but I had to wait for confirmation at the 21 levels. That's when I knew that, I'm gonna send it to you guys. We've been holding that for quite some time, but my price target on that is still 27.50. There's been some crazy buying activity into the 27.50 calls for November 20, as well as the 24.50. Again, you could buy the shares or you could trade the options, but if you did miss the shares, option like from 18 to 24, that's about a $6 move, a pretty good move to the upside. So just be careful. Right now, what I'm doing is I'm opening put position to kind of protect myself, and also I'm selling the calls as well, right? At the same time, I'm selling the put. So either way this goes, I'll be able to protect myself and not lose anything and still come out profitable. So this is one of the reasons why I want you guys to start picking up shares. Another one that we got into and we had cut losses on it was Facebook. This piece of nonsense right here. The market just cut pretty good steam to the upside, and Facebook just ran like, it just took my precious money. And it's okay. We're gonna win some. We're gonna lose some. So I still do think that we face some rejections, but let's see how this week goes, right? We got pretty good formations here of where stocks find pretty good support at. MACD looking pretty bullish on the 4 hour, and support should be around the 259 levels, considering that move that we've had. If we were to pull back, that will move back to the 261 level first, which is the 50-day moving average on the 4 hour chart. If you guys want to look at it on shorter time frame, you can, but I always use a longer time frame to kind of get the better idea. But this could be a great level of breakout here, and to actually test the 274, which at that point would be this would be a rounded bottom, or this could be a pretty much good inverted head and shoulder. If you guys were to go on a smaller time frame, yeah, this will be the shoulder, this will be the head, and we're consolidating along that shoulder here. So let's see how long that goes for. That's about it. Let's see, what else did we pick up? Oh yeah, we pick up this stock SPTN. Actually, the reason why I pick up this stock in SPTN, it had a pretty good move, and I caught the move pretty late. Reason is because Amazon has warrants in this company. As you guys can see here, this company popped because on Amazon commercial agreement. So I picked up about 600 shares, cost me about 21,000. I'm doing research. I will be posting these things up tomorrow, but literally I just picked it up because of Amazon. Literally because of Amazon. So please watch out for this stock. You're in the stock. Worst case scenario, the company goes bankrupt. You lose your money, but 9 out of 10 times, the furthest it could go to is zero. You can't lose more than zero. If the stock price go to zero, worst case scenario, you get to hold this for the rest of your life. But with pretty good sentiment in the market, I see a pretty good bullish indication based on how we moved up and we pretty much held. And if you look at the all-time high for this stock for the year, it's at 27.72. So if I could get another $6 run, anything Amazon put their nose is. And this company actually is a food delivery service for the military. So if you guys look more into it, you can see why Amazon would want to stake in that company as well. So again, we're waiting for stimulus hope. This is a pretty good pick. We did trade OEG a little bit. I got back in again at 95 cents. So again, when you guys pick up these shares of companies, if you pick them up at a pretty cheap price, learn to trade them. And of course, if you're holding, look to hold for 6 months to 12 months, or even 3 to 4, 5 years. So that's about it, guys. That's the recap of what I think is going to happen. Or we covered a little bit of what happened last week. All this move that we had to the upside was because of stimulus hope. Literally, there was no reason for the market to go up, but then Trump out here talking about he could give more money for the stimulus, so people got excited, investors got excited. And remember what I told you guys about the dollar, guys. Remember what I told you guys about the dollar. Watch it closely. Sometimes it all could be too much to watch, but if the dollar decreases in value, the price of good denominated in US dollars increases, right? So, and that makes stocks over here and companies over here very cheap for investors overseas. So those are things to watch moving forward, and just understanding the relation of supply and demand in the market. Look at imports and exports and knowing what that means, going back to economics 101. And that's pretty much it. And I'll see you guys tomorrow morning.
Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed and learned a lot from the video. Go ahead and smash that like and subscription button and follow us on social media for more content. And stay tuned for the next video.